Have you ever wondered what a product of the Ice Age looks like? Here we take a look at Glacier Bay, a product of Earth's natural beauties. Located in Alaska, the area is filled with glaciers, forests, countless animals to find, and home to the Huna Tlingit people. In 1925, President Coolidge declared the area a national monument due to the significance of the Tidewater glaciers and early discoveries from Captain J. Hook and John Muir to be inspired by nature. The Alaska National Interest Lands Conservation Act of 1980 helped aid Glacier Bay to become a national park. The ANILCA was signed into federal law by President Carter to protect and preserve Alaska's public lands, natural resources, wildlife, and historic sites. Let's dive in and see what makes these 3.3 million acres so special. Glacier Bay is located close to Canada, just off West Juneau, Alaska, where you can take a short flight to get there. This magic place is filled with heritage sites, a rich history connected to John Muir and his discoveries, and was named one of the 20 World Heritage Sites. Now it wouldn't be right to not share some insights to the rich ancestral heritage of the people of the tides.
400 years ago, there was no Glacier Bay, only a broad, flat valley with a large river flowing through it, populated by indigenous Tlingit communities that settled on the banks of the river. Starting around the year 1700, glaciers began to rapidly advance, swallowing up the valley. Geologic reconstructions indicate the ice advanced about 5 kilometers per year on average, displacing the Tlingit villages, which are recorded in oral traditions as part of the cultural history of the modern Huna Tlingit. By 1750, ice had completely overridden the valley and reached its maximum extent. This period of glacial advance occurred during the Little Ice Age, when average global temperatures dropped by as much as half a degree Celsius. Since then, the glaciers have been rapidly retreating due to global warming, which has raised the average global temperature by over 1 degree Celsius in the last 100 years. Glacial retreat is happening all over Earth, but Glacier Bay National Park has long been a poster child for this phenomenon. This is in part due to the promotional writings of John Muir, who traveled to Glacier Bay in the late 1800s to test his theory that Yosemite Valley was carved by glaciers. He found that the ice in Glacier Bay had not only retreated many tens of miles, but that the landscape was completely transformed, with a giant marine bay left behind where the ice had carved out and deepened the valley. In the last 200 years, the glacial retreat rates in Glacier Bay National Park are the fastest on Earth.
The Huna Tlingit are a tribe in Alaska with strong ties to Glacier Bay. Ancestors lived near the edges of the glacier slits and kept themselves alive on the lands where Glacier Bay now stands before the Little Ice Age. When glaciers began to expand, they were forced to leave their areas in the 1700s. Following the expansion, when ice started to retreat, they began to return to the place they once called home after more than 200 years. The Huna Indian Association was chartered in 1939 as a federally recognized tribe.
Our people were settled here since time immemorial.
Glacier Bay is our ancestral homeland.
All 4 clans were forced out of Glacier Bay by the moving ice. And the Raven clan on the outer coast were washed out by a tsunami. They moved into what is now Huna.
Our homeland became a national park, and so there was feelings about that.
A tribal house was built to signify the culture brought before Glacier Bay. The Huna Tlingit are natural artists with their totem poles, wood carvings, and paintings that are displayed all around the cultural center. The dedication in Glacier Bay represents healing between both the National Park Service and the Huna Tlingit. It was built in Bartlett Cove to convey their story to the public about the 4 different clans while providing cultural programs and reinvigorating traditional activities. This building ties the past, present, and future generations together for many years to come. Hence the name Glacier Bay. Glaciers are the most recognizable geological aspect that was reported to bring over 700,000 people in the year 2023 to the national park. Glacier Bay houses Tidewater, Piedmont, and hanging glaciers. Tidewater glaciers extend directly into the ocean, terminating at the sea level where it breaks off into icebergs. This is called calving, where large pieces of ice break off the glacier to form icebergs. Piedmont glaciers form from valley glaciers spilling out of valleys, making lows on flat land. Hanging glaciers set on the walls of glacier valleys, only coming down part of the way. The most recognizable glaciers are Johns Hopkins, Marjorie, and the Reed Glacier. Glacier Bay provides many educational resources simply based off animals and the landscapes alone. The National Park Service offers many educational opportunities to bring Glacier Bay's natural history to youth. From distant learning opportunities, curriculum material for teachers, scientist lessons, Alaskan history and culture studies, what can't you learn from Glacier Bay National Park and the National Park Services? The national park's main purpose in Glacier Bay is to protect the park's vast glacial landscape while providing countless activity to the public. They facilitate hundreds of thousands of visitors each year, and the number keeps growing year to year. Some things to do while visiting is hiking, kayaking, whale watching, and even rafting. Many people that visit Glacier Bay come on cruise boats. When you visit, you'll be able to see over 300 different plant species, 40 types of mammals, and about 2,000 migrating birds across its 3,282,000 acres of land, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. On the acreage, there is about 700 miles of coastline that house many marine, terrestrial, and freshwater ecosystems that even allow you to swim in. The National Park Service created the distance learning opportunity to showcase Glacier Bay. The program brings the national park to classrooms all around the world. Students from K through 12 can learn about glaciers, whales from the many articles of research collected, history, wildlife, and the wilderness. This is a free program to all, and classes even experience live interactive visits. Curriculum is also something that's provided from the National Park Services. Most lessons focus on many different areas of study, from math to English, and using science to make campaigns about animals around the park. Park rangers also lead visitors around the park on hikes, have a visitor center, and enforce park rules to keep both people and wildlife safe and maintain the recreation area for human uses. Essentially, they keep both Glacier Bay and you safe when you're visiting. You can find more resources and information about Glacier Bay National Park on the National Park Service's website. The Southern Alaskan Wilderness continues to provide limitless adventure and opportunity to all guests and its hosts. I decided to choose Glacier Bay due to the sheer idea that it's one of the largest wilderness preservations, totaling 2.7 million acres just in preservation. I've always been interested in places with rich culture, but one that also influences many other factors, and Glacier Bay does just that. It contributes to science and research while maintaining one of the most natural ecosystems you can see. Remember, if you want to take a trip to Glacier Bay, the visiting season is from May to September, and you want to remember to pack for temperatures around 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit.